Assalamu alaikum, everybody. We're going to be starting in a few minutes, inshallah.
Did you leave?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Subhanallah wa alhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka hamidum majid. Allahumma barak ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka hamidum majid. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Everybody, thank you for joining us for another round of the R2F show. Before we get started, just going to make a few quick announcements. Our co-host is going to be here in a minute, and he's going to open us up with a little talk, inshallah. But I just wanted to make a few announcements. Soon, inshallah, I haven't figured out a date when we're going to start. But one of the things that we're going to do for the 2022 initiative, inshallah, we're trying to focus on education. So one of the things that I'm going to be working on is starting a class, or if not really a class, but it's going to be more of a discussion group where we are going to go through the teachings of a cult leader of a cult that I belong to, which is the TMOA cult, the teachings of Mubarak Gilani. And we're going to go through all the lectures and all the books and all the videos, and we're going to point out all the things that were taught that clearly go against the Quran and the Sunnah. So if anybody is interested in working on that with me, the end result will be another publication that the R2F puts out so that people can know the false teachings, because a lot of people don't know the teachings, and we've been exposing them a lot on our channel. But we're going to go through it point by point, because it's as much as we have exposed on our show and the various videos on our channel, there's much more that people need to be aware about. So contact me. You can text me or WhatsApp me. My telephone number is 607-624-8100. And even for the TMOA apologist, everything we do is confidential. But we're going to be having weekly sessions where we go through each discourse and break down some of the obvious contradictions of the Quran and the Sunnah. And, you know, it'd be a good lesson for people that believe that Mubarak Gilani was upon the Quran and the Sunnah. It'll be eye-opening for you as well. And you can even present your own arguments and rebuttals. But that's what we're going to do. I'll be putting out an announcement and advertisement soon, inshallah. So we will be publishing the videos on our YouTube channel. So Mubarak, you're still horizontal.
I'm trying. Well,
Yeah, you got it.
how's that?
So,
Yeah, you get.
there you go. Yep. So if anybody's interested, just text me, email me, whatever, contact R2F, and we can go from there. So with that, Mubarak, we already opened up, so you can begin with your talk whenever you're ready.
Okay, if I can. I'm at a remote location, so struggling just a little bit. All right. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد الحمد لله رب العالمين. That we remember the hadith that that we have kind of based the channel and the da'wah on, or at least initiated it with, which in that Rasulullah said that every child is born upon the fitrah of, you know, al-Islam and believing in one creator without any shirk mixed in, and then it is their parents who make them a Jew, a Christian, or a Majusi, or any of these other things, super Salafi or Sufi, or any of these extra additions that are added on to the religion of al-Islam, or some addition that is outside of Islam altogether. But our hope and our goal is to help ourselves and our families return to the fitrah, the natural pure state of belief in Allah and the following of the messenger, and remain on that. And anyone that Allah allows us to reach with that message, that they will receive it. And we should keep in mind that, as Allah says in a surah that probably everyone either knows or has learned even as children, Surah Quraysh, لإلاف قريش, as Allah says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لإلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف. That لإلاف قريش, to the accustomed security of Quraysh, in which they were accustomed to a certain level of security and lifestyle, and they did not realize or understand that it was Allah who was providing this for them. What situation did they have? The Quraysh, amongst the Arabs around them, had a special status in which they could travel to and fro and go from Yemen to Sham or Syria and back and forth and do trade or whatever. And it was known that even though the way of the desert was that they would rob one another, but not the Quraysh. The Quraysh were free from this, and for the most part, they were able to come and go as they please. They were the custodians of the of Al-Kaaba, and they had a special status amongst the Arabs and amongst the people who came and went there. لإلاف قريش إلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف. They had traveled in winter and summer that they could do for their businesses, and it allowed them some wealth and status. رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبروا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف, in which he is the one who that he fed them when they were hungry, and he protected them from fear and made them safe when they had when everyone else was afraid. Why am I mentioning this? Why am I mentioning this? Because it is a reminder for ourselves and for anyone that is listening or that may hear later, that sometimes we think of some success that we may have in our minds, that it is due to our efforts and due to ourselves that we have gained something, or we're able to do something, or we have a certain life, whether it's the community we are in, whether it's a group that we are part of, that people are now saying, wow, mashallah, these brothers are doing something good, these sisters are doing something great, and we start to feel ourselves. But we become accustomed to something that Allah actually provided for us. Allah is the one who actually is the one who does the work. The work is actually by Allah's will. And if Allah doesn't want it, you won't have it. And sometimes Allah has to show you that if you start to feel like it is because of you and your efforts and what you have done alone, and you don't acknowledge Allah enough, if Allah cares for you and wants you to be guided, then He will take those things from you, at least for a time, to show you that it's not necessarily you, and that you should always remember Allah in your efforts. So as we are comfortable in our communities, in our groups, or whatever the case may be, and we have some security that we're accustomed to, or situation that we are in, know that it's Allah who has provided this for us, and it is Him who can take it away. Know that your efforts, and I speak to ourselves and anyone else, especially the people who are doing da'wah, know that your efforts in da'wah and the people who are guided is not because of you, it's not because of us, but it's because Allah has chosen those people who hear a message and say, Alhamdulillah, will follow the Quran and Sunnah. It is because Allah chose them. And for those people who hear the message or don't hear it, is because Allah didn't allow them to be guided. And regardless of the effort that you make, it is Allah's decision alone. And regardless of how hard you're trying or not, Allah is the one who is actually the one who has given everyone the ability, whether it's speaking, making videos, typing, whatever it is to do. So let us acknowledge Allah, as Allah says, فَلْيَعْبُدُوا رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ. Instead of those things, those symbols and things that even the Kaaba, it was the focal point, but Allah says, worship the Lord of that house, and not the house, not the object, not something that you may have gained, not the fame, not your communities, but it is Allah, the one who is the doer, فَعَالٌ لِمَا يُرِيدُ, the one who does whatever He wants. This is the one we should always keep at the front of our minds, at the forefront, and give all the credit to Him. And whatever we gain, it is due to Allah. And our efforts are only the things that we do, and then Allah is the one who does the work. So may Allah accept our efforts and accept our presentation for this show. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Go ahead, Sheikh Ja'far, Brother Ja'far.
Alhamdulillah, shukran for those words. Today's show, we have Brother Abdul-Atheem, Abdul-Mu'min, who's one of the senior former members of of TMOA, the Darsland. He's been here since the beginning, even before the beginning. And we are going to interview him, and he's going to tell us about himself and some of the experiences he's had. So welcome to the show, Abdul-Atheem.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Alhamdulillah. So could you just start us off with maybe tell us about yourself, tell us about, like your journey to Islam.
Inshallah, if I may, Jafar, I like to recite an ayah, inshallah.
Yes, go right ahead.
آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون كل آمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسوله لا نفرق بين أحد من رسوله وقالوا سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين آمين. And the reason that I wanted to recite those last two ayats, Surah Al-Baqarah was revealed, I think it was like in a span of 10 years.
Okay.
Those last two ayats, Allah SWT revealed them directly to Rasulullah SAW. And they was during the Mi'raj. And that was when Allah SWT would not allow Jibreel to go any further. And Rasulullah SAW went further to receive those two ayats. And those two ayats are very powerful ayats. Mm-hmm. Where Allah SWT is talking to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he's telling him that you believe in this, and the believers believe in this, right? So it's a confirmation of what Allah SWT has given him and his ummah. Mm-hmm. And there's no extra. Okay, let's make that clear. There's no extra. Allah SWT perfected this thing. Okay, so I just wanted to make make that clear, because for some reason, people think that there's some extra that's going to get you closer to Allah SWT. You can't get no closer than what Rasulullah SAW gave us. Mm-hmm. Okay, but okay, so my journey, and I guess it was around 1971. There were brothers that was disappearing from the neighborhood. You didn't see them. Musa Abdul-Salam from Philly. Malik Abdul-Salam from Philly just disappeared, right? It was like thugs in the neighborhood, gang wars. If you know anything about Philly, back in the day, it was gang wars, territorial stuff, where you lived at. You fought the other, areas.
Okay.
Right? So I was a young boy, so they never let me join the gang. They let my brother join. He was like a year and a couple months older than me. They let him join. They wouldn't let me join. They told me I was too young. But I watched Musa Abdul-Salam, and I watched Malik Abdul-Salam. And then fast forward to Abdul Wadud Abdul-Salam, Dr. Wadud. Y'all know him as Dr. Wadud.
Yeah.
Khalil.
Mm-hmm.
Latif from across the street. And these brothers started disappearing from the neighborhood. And they was going to the masjid. And they was taking shahada. Right? And they was coming back to the neighborhood. And they was giving dawah.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay. So my journey was, you know, in that particular neighborhood, we were a neighborhood of musicians. So everybody had a band. Everybody was playing music. You know, Abdul-Atheem, Khalif Khalil. You know, they had bands. You know, I had a band, but I was in a junior band playing music. So basically, what happened was they became Muslim, right? And this is how I found out about Abdul-Atheem. And I'm just gonna keep it real.
Yeah.
You know, Abdul-Atheem was my weed supplier. Okay. When I was young, well, I was 15. Okay.
Yeah.
So Abdul-Atheem, I called his house one time because I needed some weed. And his wife, Aisha, Rahimullah alayhi, she's passed, answered the phone. Hello? I said, yeah, this is Mike. Is Pee Wee there? We call him Pee Wee.
Yeah.
She said, well, first of all, this is not Tony, this is Aisha. So I'm 15, so I don't know, right? So I said, okay, Aisha, is Pee Wee there? Well, he's no longer Pee Wee, he's Wadud. So now I'm jammed up because I know I don't have the wrong phone number.
Right.
But I just like the wrong people or something, right? So basically, that was my understanding that they had stopped doing that and they had accepted Islam.
Yeah.
So to go further with that, so basically we back in the neighborhood, they come back in the neighborhood and they giving Dawah. To all of the young people, anybody want to hear it, they giving Dawah. And you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, see, the thing is, unfortunately, some people think that it's about them. They think it's something that was special in them that made them Muslim. No, it is the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he chose you and he gave you his jewel, right? He gave you his jewel and he pulled you out of the dunya. Like he said, you was on the brink of the fire. You were on the brink of the fire and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pulled you out, right?
Yes, yeah.
And he brought you to his deen. And that's what he did. And that's what Dawah was all about, because that's what they did. They came back to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And they reached out to the people that were still there. Okay.
Now, was this at this time? Was it already the Dawas, the Darul Islam movement at that time?
No, at this particular time, I knew nothing about that.
Right.
And,
okay.
And they might have, because when they took Shahada, they took Shahada in the Darsland movement masjid. So yeah.
Okay.
But basically, what happened was, so their influence in the neighborhood, and believe this is a miracle to me, their influence in the neighborhood, the whole neighborhood became Muslim. Okay, the whole neighborhood became Muslim. You know, so fast forward to we all, you know, so I'm sitting on the steps after they give me Dawah. I'm sitting on the steps on a Sunday morning, never forget it. I'm sitting on the steps waiting for them to come out the house to take me to the masjid to take Shahada. Right? They come out the house, they take me to masjid, take Shahada, right? Alhamdulillah, right? And it was like, you know, like it was like a new day. It was like a new life. It was, you know, if anybody know about Philly, you know, North Philly was a notorious place to be. North Philly was known to have no consciousness of human life if you didn't live there. Okay. Yeah. And that's where the masjid was. Okay. So I'm from West Philly, and the masjid is in North Philly, but I guarantee you, and trust me, when I took Shahada and I had to go to the masjid, I had no fear. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me courage.
Alhamdulillah.
And it didn't even matter about their reputation or anything like that. And even the other brothers, right? Jafar, you got to keep me on track because I have a tendency to go ramble a little bit. Okay. All right. So basically, I'm looking at the neighborhood that I'm from, and I'm looking at the influence that these brothers had, and everybody is Muslim in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Everybody is trying to learn, and everybody is, running, trying to get classes and trying to do all these other things, right? Which leads
And
me okay.
at what point did because there's a point where Mubarak Gilani came and there was a split, but tell me about the Dar-Islam, or that time of being Muslim before Gilani came, or before using the thought, like the good and the bad of it, of what you guys had.
Okay. Well, basically what happened, basically the Darsland movement was set up. It was set up for people that came in that needed structure, right? And guidance, classes, what to eat, what not to eat, all these different things. So we went to class, right? And, we learned, started out with basic Islam and angels class and all these different things that just give us a background of deen. Right. And Khalifa Yahya or Imam Yahya, who was the Imam of the Darsland movement, right, was a very, very, very powerful brother. Okay, very powerful brother. And when I mean powerful, he was, in my opinion, was the most knowledgeable of us, right? And we had Darsland was established in every major city in the United States. Right. Okay, let's keep that in mind. The Darsland movement was established in every major city in the United States. The Darsland movement established 5 salats a day in all of the masjids, 24-hour access. If somebody came off the street and needed to come in and just sit down and pray or whatever they needed to do. Right. We had security, we had rod, we trained, we protected, okay? Yeah. So all these things were established, okay? And I made a list because I kind of ran out of paper because the Darsland movement has so much stuff going on and it was so established. But can I read something real quick? Yep, go ahead. I know we're on a time thing, so but this is important. Yep. This is important because this is something that all Darsland movement members had to take. And it's called the Darsland Pledge. Okay. And the Darsland Pledge is, in the name of Allah, the gracious, the merciful. Allah is the greatest. Bearing witness that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his messenger, and being a follower of the last prophet and messenger of Allah, I hereby pledge myself to the Sharia and to those who are joined by this pledge. I pledge myself by pledging my love, energy, wealth, life, and abilities. I also pledge myself to the Majlis Imami, whose duty it is to establish, develop, defend, and govern according to the precepts of the Sharia. Now, I just want to take a quick minute for those brothers, the seniors and the elders who are listening to this show, and I'll ask you, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that pledge? What's wrong with that bayat?
And it's listening to that, and it's pretty much just basically taking a pledge that you're going to be a Muslim.
Exactly.
To the best of your ability, and help the Muslim community.
Exactly. Okay. So
and not selling yourself off to one person.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah, because we were in a major city, and I'm gonna tell you another story. People talking about the Darsland movement, we were very attractive in the United States. We were a very attractive movement. And I was on security detail one time with Imam Zaid, rahimahullah. I don't know if you guys know Imam Zaid from Philly.
Yeah, I don't know personally.
Waraka's father, I'll just say that, okay? And I was on security detail with him, and he said, come on, we gotta go to New York. So I went to New York with him, and he had to meet with Imam Yahya. He was the Imam in Philly, or we called him the Wali, and he had to meet with Imam. So he met with the imam. They wouldn't let me go. That was fine. I hung out at Yasin Mosque, waited for them to come back. They came back. Imam Yahya called us in the office. He said, look, I want to tell y'all something, and I haven't even discussed this with my administration here in New York. Overseas, I don't want to mention the place right now. Overseas wants me and Warfdeen Muhammad, Rahimullah, to come over there and meet with them to establish those two leaders as the leaders of the United States Muslims. Okay. Now, people don't even give Warfdeen credit. They don't give him credit. They don't give him credit. This man broke from his father.
Yeah.
Okay. He broke from his father because it was about Islam. It wasn't about what his father was teaching. And his father knew that.
Yeah.
He broke from him, right? And he established the Sunnah with his followers. Those who came, he established the Sunnah with them. He sent them to classes. He sent them overseas to learn. He did all of that.
Yeah.
And he was attractive also because they had a lot of people. They had a lot of members.
Well, it's amazing when I did, my research on the Dar al-Islam and looking and since the Dar al-Islam, there's not been anything even close to the Dar al-Islam, because the Dar al-Islam, like you said, was united Muslim community throughout pretty much all the major cities in the United States and multiple states in the United States. Nothing's like it has occurred since. Every masjid is like a silo in itself, right? Like
and if I can just jump in here real quick and just try to just to try to bring a little bit of clarity to the to those people who may have just joined a little late or are not able to follow along. So the Dar al-Islam, okay, sounds to me like, and I'll come from our perspective, from the people who are like my age and those younger, from what we were always told was the doll days, and it was basically like a wild west of just a ragtag bunch, no Islam to speak of, really, name only, and basically because Gilani coming pretty much took a bunch of just misfits and turned them into something wonderful. I mean, this is the story that we were told. It sounds to me pretty clearly that not only was it a force to be reckoned with, but it was very well organized and a formidable organization. And it brings to mind that for any person or a group to want to break up or disband, that would have to be working against Islam. That's what comes to mind. So is it safe to say that that narrative of the Dar al-Islam being an unorganized, just a ragtag bunch, not anything of any substance whatsoever, Islamically or otherwise, is completely false? I know this seems like ABC type of thing, but some people need to hear this. They need to understand it.
Mubarak, you raised a great point, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to come on. I wanted to come on to defend it. Okay, and when I heard, astaghfirullah, when I heard that the Darsland movement was saved by Sheikh Gilani because we were a bunch of drunks, drug addicts, what have you. Very insulting, man.
Yeah.
Very, very insulting to me. Okay. And the reason it was insulting, because when I took Shahada and I went to New York, which was headquarters for the Darsland movement, that's where our imam was. That's actually where the administrative power was. These brothers had businesses. These brothers were entrepreneurs, okay?
Yeah.
Let me give you some examples. They had the prison program established as ministers, where they go into prisons, they make sure the brothers have Eid. They make sure the brothers can fast during Ramadan. Okay? They make sure the brothers had halal food. They had a meat store. They had a halal meat store in New York. They had a farm where the halal meat store was buying the food from them to sell it retail. They had Miska, which was a place where they made incense. They had attar, and they sold incense and attar wholesale. One brother had a printing shop. What else? You have Madrasa to Shahidain. They had a school. People don't know that Khalifa Atiq, rahimahullah, was an educator before he was TMOA.
Right.
Okay?
And it seems like
how many of y'all know who Siraj Wahaj is?
yeah, we know, yeah.
Right? We know him,
Yeah.
right? We know him, right? Guess who gave him Shahada?
Who's that?
Sheikh Gilani.
Rashid, rahimahullah.
Oh, jeez.
Okay? Khalifa Ali, rahimahullah, when back in the Dar,
Wow.
when he had the Dawah program established, and that was imperative for every location to go out in the city where we came from, go out in the neighborhoods and fish. We called it fishing. Go fishing and go back in the neighborhoods and bring back some fish and save them.
It's amazing to look at, like, you look at the likes of Imam Siraj Wahaj, and some would argue that he's like one of the top like da'is in the United States historically, just from the beginning to like where he is now, just the impact he's had on Islam in America. You look at him, who's someone who like that has come from the Dar, gives him Shahada. Then you look at anybody that's in the group now, TMOA, and we'll get to them in a minute. Anybody has not even come close to that type of status in America as far as giving dawah and representing Islam.
But think about that, Jaffer. Think about what you just said. Now here's Ali Abdul Rashid, my hero, somebody I love to death. He was in charge of the dawah for the whole Darsland movement. The dawah was my thing in Philly. I was on the dawah committee.
Yeah.
So of course I looked up to him. Here's a brother that was very instrumental in the dawah program, right? Very instrumental in bringing people to Islam. Whatever Siraj Wahaj does Islamically, Ali gets the benefit. Ali gets some of that. He gets some of that because of him bringing him in.
Yeah.
What TMOA did to him.
Alhamdulillah.
Guess what TMOA did to him? I got my shades on because I get emotional.
Yeah.
He had to be buried in his grandson's backyard.
Yeah, it's the way that the people who sacrificed their lives all these years to build something that was pretty much stolen from them. When we look at it, they still did what they did because they thought it was right. They thought they were doing the right thing. And to literally be disgraced, dishonored at times like that, it's really shameful. And then when we talk about situations like this, and then, so we're getting a little, I don't want to get too sidetracked. When we talk about situations like this with Ali Abdul Rashid, and then you look at the fact that now you want to build a shrine for the person that does this to the people that do this, it's really ridiculous.
But let me do. Can I do this real quick?
Yep.
And I don't want. I know you guys on the time thing. I apologize.
Okay,
You
you
know,
go.
don't worry about the time, brother. It's whatever you feel you need to say, you'll
Get
say
it
it.
out.
If we need to stay until midnight, we'll do it, or at least I will.
Okay.
So.
I want to rewind back to the Imam of the movement, Khalifa Yahya or Imam Yahya rahimahullah.
Yep.
Imam Yahya was in charge of the whole Darsland movement. And the thing that I look at, okay, why? Why was it so important to disgrace him? Because he was disgraced amongst his people, amongst the same people that he was in charge of, okay? See a pattern there, okay? He was disgraced in front of all his people. You know what he had to do? He had to go around the whole country and apologize, okay, to people that were on welfare, as if he put them on welfare, or as under his watch, they were on welfare, okay? Now, the last time I checked, people had families, okay? And they had men in their families, and their men, the men decided what they needed to do in their household, okay? Whether it meant going and getting a check, getting food stamps or whatever, okay? Right. It wouldn't be no different than a beta mall. If you had a beta mall established and somebody needed some help, right? Yeah. It was a difference, okay? Yeah. But he had to go around and apologize and demean himself, right? Because under his watch, people was on welfare, going to the government for money and assistance. Well, then then my question is, okay, which one of these leaders right now is going to go around the country? Excuse me, you might need to go to a commercial because I might cuss. Okay, which one
it's
of these
okay.
leaders now is going to go around the country and apologize for the people that's on welfare right now? Because they're on welfare right now.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, let me.
You're still waiting for their percentage, their dues from that money.
Yep.
So I mean, to me, and you can correct me if you feel like that I'm barking up the wrong tree. But a couple of things come to mind is nowadays these young people, I'll say these young people, you may be laughing at me but they say gaslighting or green lighting or something lighting, what's come to mind. However, but what I see is that it's similar to slavery, in which the people who were slaves, the people of African descent, they had to be told that they used the Bible. First, they didn't let them read, right? They didn't let them and they used the Bible. They forced them into Christianity and told them, you're in this situation because you were this or you were that, or because the curse of Ham, or they used something to try to make them seem like they were inferior, and they did not have any sort of good qualities except for the ones that the slave masters allegedly endowed them with or whatever. So what I'm seeing is that they are told, and I have heard many people, my parents' age and even down the line, talking of as if that the people before Gilani came were absolutely nothing, like literally as if they were just walking and wandering the streets naked and unclothed, couldn't even speak. This is the type of ridiculousness that it seemed like they were under. And so basically you being told that you were nothing, and people repeating this, and everything of any good seemingly is told that it came from this person. It seems like the same playbook that they ran on the slaves, people of African descent, in which they told them, you guys are not really anything. And I've heard African Americans, Christians anyway, that say they thank God for slavery, and they say slavery was the reason why, if we didn't have it, if the white people didn't do this to us, we wouldn't be anything. We would be in Africa and we would be heathens. This is the same type of rhetoric and mindset that's like, if it wasn't for Gilani, we would be in the ghettos, and we would be this is baloney. It seems to me very clearly from someone yourself who was there, that there was an organization and there was structure and there was something there that not only was it something to attach yourself to, but it seemed when you say that they were, with Walter Muhammad as well, that it was something that looked like it was going to even take off and go to even greater heights, unless something or someone came in to disrupt that. But I won't be the spoiler. But it seems like we were headed in a direction that really, I mean, it didn't seem like it could be stopped. But illa mashallah, but definitely something came to kind of disrupt that. So as far as the Gilani coming in, if I can skip forward a little bit, because I'm getting a little pressed. I can skip forward a little bit. What do you think, at least, is there anything that from someone coming in, maybe Gilani or anyone looking at the Dawah days and the situation, is there anything that they could pick at and say, well, this is the problem with you guys and we need an overhaul? Was there anything that you could say, okay, maybe I could see this or that, or one or two things maybe that could be seen as issues or problems or things that needed correction?
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because basically, and I really kind of hoped that my big brother MJ expounded on it, but y'all had him 2+ hours, okay? So ain't no way he could have covered everything.
Yeah.
Okay? But it became a political situation. And I'm going to say this, and I'm sure I'm going to get some flack. That's okay. But in New York, okay, let me tell you what happened. We had, after we went through the classes that Imam Yahya had scheduled for everybody to go through in every city, wherever they were, they had to go through these classes and learn fiqh. They had to learn Sharia, okay? After that, they could come to New York and they could be in what they call the Thursday night and the Sunday night classes. These classes were designed to teach tasawwuf, okay? And they were designed to teach tasawwuf by Khalifa Yahya, rahimahullah. And he made it very clear, I am a researcher. I am not a sheikh. We call him sheikh because he's taught us. But he made it clear, I'm not a sheikh, I'm not nobody, I'm just teaching you from Sheikh Abdul-Qadir Gilani's work, rahimahullah. And he taught us from that. And he made it clear that he taught us from that. I think, and I believe, and we used to go to class up there, we said to wear long blue throws. Everybody, you come to class, you had to have a long blue throw going out of respect for the class. And there used to be some brothers up there from New York that didn't go to class, and they would ridicule us. Look at them niggas with the blue throws on, like a joke, like fake ass Tariqa, but the thing is, that was the next class. After we done went through the other classes, that was like the next thing to do. You know what I'm saying? So you want to eat, you want to learn, you want to try to learn more and all of that. So, we laugh it off, we from the hood. So look, we could take a damn joke. I mean, okay, you know what I'm saying? So we in class and it became contentious. Because it was almost like some thought that Imam Yahya was tripping, okay? They thought he was tripping because he was teaching Tariqa, okay?
Yeah.
So hence, we got to go find a sheikh, a real one, right?
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind that the Darsland movement was a very attractive, that's like the hot girl, okay?
Yeah.
You got everything going on. You got an army, you got masjids all over the country, you got access 24/7 to the Musalla, you right? Somebody mess with your woman, you gonna kick their ass. They already know that, people already know that.
Right.
Jews walking down the street, they cross the street if they smoking weed because they know they might get stuck. Okay, all these things were established in the Darsland movement throughout the country. Okay, respect us. Respect us. That's all we ask, respect us. Okay? So now you got, bring me back to Jeffrey. What was I?
I'm enjoying the story. But so, yeah, so like we're trying to figure like, so how like when Gilani came.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
How did that transpire? Yeah, go ahead.
So basically it's about, let's find this sheikh. Let's find us a real one. Right? Let's go find us a real sheikh, right? So it was one sheikh, his name was Sheikh Noorani, okay? And he was a well-known sheikh from Pakistan, right? He was an alim, he was a hafiz of Quran, right? So he came to New York, all the brothers, Philly, everybody flocked up there to meet this sheikh, because I think at that point, Khalifa Yahya was like, all right, man, whatever. Go ahead, let's do it. You know, it's okay. I'm about making sure everybody okay. That was his attitude. Look, I'm a soul brother trying to do some deen. He used to always say that. I'm just a soul brother trying to do some deen. And he would say that. So when it came to bringing somebody in that could help us, see, because keep in mind, and let me say this, Darsland movement had a policy. And that policy was no foreigners is going to come in here and lead us. They can come and teach us. They can come and teach us. They can come and give us nasiha. They can do all those things. But they don't know the terrain. Okay? They don't know the terrain. They don't know what you go through. They don't know what I go through. Right? They don't know about the Dawah in the neighborhood. We go in the neighborhood. We going the neighborhood back to where we came from and bring them people out of there. They don't do that overseas because everybody Muslim. Yeah. Okay, so there's no Dawah program over there. We got the Dawah programs established here because that's where we came from, the dunya. So we were very, 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 very protective. Yeah. Who came in? Okay. All right. So here we go. Sheikh Noorani comes in. Very beautiful Quran. Very beautiful Quran. Right? And we loved it and all that. But he wasn't the one. Because that's, you know, okay, that's beautiful and all that. That's nice. But that wasn't really our thing. Right? Yeah. So MJ and Hussein Abdullah searching. He gonna get me for this, but that's okay. Searching, trying to find a sheikh, right? Yeah. So they stumble across this Pakistani sheikh that's at a Pakistani masjid talking to Pakistanis about jihad. Okay. So they go and they visit this discourse or whatever. And the only thing I could think that they heard was jihad, because I know they didn't know Urdu, okay? So the jihad part got them. And I know they fighters. They ain't scared of nobody, okay? Yeah. So Sheikh Gilani is giving this big discourse about getting people to go to Afghanistan to fight the Russians. Well, he say jihad, right? Yeah. You're talking about, for lack of a better word, you're talking about gangsters here. Yeah. Gangsters who want to fight if they have to. Don't care about fighting if they have to. Okay. Right. Right. So this thing is going on, right? And it's like, if y'all really about what you say you about, right? You know how it's in the street. You know how it's in the street. You got a reputation with your hands or whatever, right? Yeah. From another neighborhood come, right? He be like, yeah, I heard you do with your hands, you know? So if you good with your hands, you ain't gonna back down because you got a reputation, right? You got a reputation to uphold, right? So here you go, where you got a sheikh talking about jihad, and you supposed to be that dude. You supposed to be tough. You got an army, all that. I'll fight. I'll do whatever I got to do for Allah's sake, right? Yeah. very attractive to the Darsland movement.
So just real quick, because one of the narratives that's always been said is that Gilani had this divine inspiration to go to America to guide. Y'all made Dawah and Allah sent him to y'all. But right now, you just explained how y'all actually found him on basically a sheikh hunt.
Matter of fact, from my understanding, he said Allah sent him to the Indians.
You know what? I mentioned that to somebody, and because I remember quite a few people. Actually, it was my dad. My boo might give me for this, but I remember my boo telling me.
Look, let him talk, man. Go ahead.
I remember him telling me this like years ago, and then I brought it up recently. And he seemed to have forgotten it, but I was like, because I was going off. I'm like, how the heck did this man think he's coming to the Native Americans when those people have been pretty much wiped off the face of the earth almost, and they're in small pockets spread around here or there for the most part. I mean, people can even say that us African Americans for the most part are actually they're actual Native Americans, but they mix some stuff up. There's some evidence for that too. But the Native Americans he thought he was looking for, they ain't been relevant in hundreds of years almost. And this dude was really, he fed some people that story and they believed it. I mean, a trip to
not only that, they wasn't in New York or Philly. You know what I'm saying? They went to New York or Philly, so I never understood that part. And I know a lot of my peers and seniors didn't understand that either.
Yeah, hey,
that fight thing got their ass. That fight thing is like, I ain't no punk, okay? And that talked to us. It did. It talked to us. It did.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what happened? Like looking back now that we could look back at things and we could play Monday morning quarterback and reflect. Looking at what you guys had in the DAR and what the progress you guys were making and all that before we started getting into the Tasawwuf and trying to find a sheikh and all that. Compare that, and just from your own guesstimation, would you, looking at the what you know of the organization of TMOA, and compare that to the DAR of back in the 70s, would you say that TMOA is in a better condition or a worse condition than what the DAR had?
Absolutely worse. And the reason I say that is because, I look at, and I have to say this. I don't know if you guys know Rashid Abdullah from Atlantic City, Blue Eyes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Hanif Abu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hanif Abu was Rahimullah, my beloved, my best friend. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Was in Pleasantville. It was only a few families in 1975, 76. Only a few families. Okay. And one of the responsibilities of the Philadelphia DAR was to assist them because they didn't have the numbers. So we would always go to Atlantic City, we would go to Pleasantville, and then we would go to Atlantic City because that was the bigger city, and we'd give Dawah.
Okay.
It got to the point we were there every week. And I got a picture from Abdul Rashid's widow, the last Eid, okay? And there was a picture of let me backtrack for a minute. So back then when we were going there, Imam Zayd, Rahimullah, would send us there. He said, look, help the brothers, do the neighborhoods, go in the neighborhoods, give them dawah, help them do what they got to do, whatever. So we were there, and we were pretty much there every weekend for a lot of weekends.
Yeah.
And we would give dawah and all of that. And it was one sister, may Allah subhanahu grant her the highest place in Jannah, Yahya. Y'all know the knot that she wrote. What was the knot that she wrote? Yeah, Rasulullah, take my hand.
Oh yeah.
Ya Rasulullah, take my hand. Okay, yeah. Uh-huh.
Beautiful sister. And she used to come every week. She was a Christian.
Mhm.
And she would come to the Musalla every week in Atlantic City with her bag over her shoulder, coming down there, challenging me, basically, because I was the one giving her dawah. And she would challenge me, you know, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? So we was there. This went on for weeks. So one week we was there, she came, she had her bag, but she didn't take it off her shoulder, which was unusual because she would always take it off her shoulder and go in her notes where she wanted to ask some questions.
Yeah.
No, that's okay, I'm ready.
Alhamdulillah.
Right? May Allah bless us, you know, and she became Muslim. But I'm saying all that to say, all of this is before Sheikh Gilani came.
Yeah.
When I tell you about Siraj Wahaj, that's before Sheikh Gilani came. When I tell you about the businesses that the Darsland movement had in New York, that's before Sheikh Gilani came. When I tell you about the stores that we had in Philadelphia, Adam, y'all know Adam, his father, me and his father had a grocery store, okay? Imam Zaid had a bookstore. The Imams worked too. They went to work. Big families, okay? Everybody went to work, okay? Hafib Abdul Salam had a plumbing business, okay? He hired Musa Abdul Salam, right? And Musa Abdul Salam became a plumber. Musa Abdul Salam right now is an inspector for the city of Richmond. Okay?
So at some point, like, so we know, like, at one point, Mubarak Gilani came. Somehow Imam Yahya abdicated the imamship to Gilani. Then TMWA forms as a split and pretty much ends the Dar al-Islam movement. And all the nationwide connections of masjids, they kind of just go on their own and start to do their own thing. Like, what made you follow Gilani and TMOA for the times you did, and then what took you up to actually separating yourself from TMOA?
Well, what made me follow was my Imam follow. Okay. My Imam was Imam Yahya, rahimahullah. I had a lot of respect for him. You know, he was the leader of the Darsland movement, and we followed the Imam. Right. Muhammad Zayd, rahimahullah, who was the Imam in Philly, he got down, we followed him. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna be 100 with you. And that's why I applaud what you guys are doing, because a lot of the stuff that y'all post, I never even heard. I never even heard, I never even knew that this was principles in TMOA. And I guarantee you, it's a whole lot of us. Okay, see, because one thing about, you know, certain brothers that, you know, we kind of stayed under the radar with a lot of the TMOA principles and stuff. You know, we moved to Norfolk. We was kind of under the radar. Ain't nobody bother us unless we ain't pay no money. Then you heard from everybody, right? So a lot of this stuff, you know, like when they say Sheikh is going to be on Skype, right? Sheikh going to be on Skype, so everybody running New York or whatever, so they can be counted or whatever. We was like, yeah, go ahead, tell us what's what later on. So a lot of this stuff we didn't know about. So when I sit back and I listen to a lot of the stuff you guys post, I'm embarrassed. Yeah. I'm embarrassed because I'm saying, wait a minute. When I look at the Futiha, and I was going to ask you earlier to send me something because I wanted to make sure I was right, but I think I am about this. When you look at the Futiha, right, and it's a place in the Futiha where Mubarak Gilani says that, this is deep, when he says that it has come to my attention that some of my talibs have confirmed through their studies that I am the sixth sultan.
Yeah, no.
Oh man.
Jaffer, did you see that in the Futiha?
It sounds familiar. I remember
when you get a chance, look at that. But I'm saying that to make a point. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, first of all, let's go to the taller part. These are students that's trying to learn something. So they sitting amongst you and they trying to learn from the chef. They don't know. They're learning. But you validate your station based on your students. So you're the sixth all time based on what your students tell you. That's not even it though. Let me tell you what is it. You say that you make regular visits to the court of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. You say that you don't need tafsir because Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala gives you the explanation. They didn't tell you was a six. Saying, look, unfortunately, people don't put two and two together when it comes to these things because these are simple questions. Okay.
I think you just destroyed this whole concept in the most simplest way.
I mean, literally, the light bulb just went off. I mean, I'm like, what? Hey,
but what I'm saying is, if you're taking all these people to the court,
yeah,
you're taking all these people to the court. Yes, I'll take many toddlers to the court. You go when you want to go, and you're in the company of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and he didn't tell you was a six.
I mean, and not even one time where Rasulullah just tapped him on the shoulder, like, "Hey, yo, you know you use six, right?"
But the toddlers who don't know nothing, they don't know nothing. That's why they toddlers, because they're trying to learn. They told you.
I mean, that is just, I am tickled to death at this because it's like, it literally is just 1 + 1. I mean, you visiting the court and all this stuff, and nobody, not even like the doorman at the courts or whatever, the angel that's like opening the gates for you or whatever, he didn't even be like, hey, you know you're the six. Nobody mentioned it, but some random talib who probably was half asleep, if it's probably made up. But well, that's how you confirmed it. That's
you know what it is, and this is, I'll just touch it real quick, is basically what he did is because there's a general concept of, especially in Tasawwuf, of you stay away from people who make claims, right? So what he did is he took a concept and taught it to them in a way like, hey, I'm gonna teach y'all about the 7 sultans. Yeah, there's 5, and there's a 6th, and teach them in a way so that then someone says, hey, are you the 6th? Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you confirmed it for me. I mean, it's a straight up.
And on top of that, what qualifies the 7? How much deen do he know? What qualifies him to be the 7? Because he's your son. Yep. I don't know what he knows about Islam. But what I do know is that confrontation he had with you. From what I understand, the Muslim don't do that.
Yeah,
don't condemn nobody to hell. Rasulullah Sallallahu never did that.
Exactly.
Okay. He never did that. Okay. So my question is, you got a whole bunch of generations following this thing now.
Yeah.
My kids, my grandkids are following this. They don't know him. They don't know Noor other than maybe some conversations on the phone. They just probably seen her when she came to the States.
Yeah.
When you give your allegiance or whatever you give to people, you better know who the hell they are. That's all I'm saying. You better know who they are if you follow them. What accreditation do they have?
Yeah.
What knowledge do they have? How you know they ain't gonna lead you to the fire? That's our biggest fear. We don't want to go to hell.
Exactly.
We don't want to go to hell, so we want to follow somebody who's going to help us keep us out of there.
Yeah. And you just mentioned, you have kids, grandkids that have been caught up in this, and I'm pretty sure that they'll find time to listen to this. So, like, what is your message that you want them to hear? If anything else, they're not going to listen to anything you say, because I know you give Dawah, and just for anybody else that's listening, Abdul-Atheem has been a major force and a major help in all this dawah that we've been given, and he's been a major help to this. So like, what would your message be to your family and your friends and your companions, the people that you love and care about? What's your message to them that when they're listening right now?
Okay. Let me start with my family. You know, y'all know that Ahmed Person is my son.
Mhm.
Ahmed Person, and I have to say this. Ahmed Person was a beloved little dude at one time. You can ask some of my companions back in the day. Ahmed was a sweet dude, man. Okay, politics have a way of destroying your inner. Okay, politics have a way of going in there and take everything that is valuable between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and tearing it apart. For rank, for power, for worldly, for whatever. So, you know, and I don't know what this interview is going to do going forward, but you have to speak the truth. And I'm with MJ with that. And that's why MJ came on, because MJ wanted to address his faults. So I'm addressing mine with my kids. I brought them here. I brought them to this thing, okay? Thinking that it was going to be good for them. Getting them out of the streets. I didn't want to raise them in the ghetto. I didn't want to raise them in the streets. That was a good sell for me, okay? But I always told my kids, don't get caught up in nobody's personality.
Yeah.
Get caught up into Rasulullah's personality. You won't go wrong there.
I mean,
you get caught up in his personality, you won't go wrong. Okay. So I want to say that to my kids to please.
I mean,
for Allah's sake, you know, learn what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to learn so that you can be all right with him. That's what's important. That you be right with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, okay? Don't put your hopes and your dreams in something that you have no idea if it's going to happen or not, okay? That's what I say.
Alhamdulillah.
Man, this thing here, this TMOA thing is a family business, and you're not family. Okay? You're not family. So when things go wrong, your ass is going to be in trouble. Your ass is going to be thrown under the bus. That's what's going to happen. When things go wrong, you ain't family. You got to go. And you will be sacrificed, just like a whole lot of my peers and a whole lot of my friends have been sacrificed. And Jafar, that's why I asked you, told you I wasn't going to respond to question 7.
Yeah.
Because they were victims too.
Exactly. You're right. You're right.
So I'm saying that, you know, I say to my family, be Muslim, you know, the Christians, you know, they do all kinds of stuff because they hoping that Isa alayhi salam is going to save them and take them on the Jannah. Does that concept sound to you? How does that concept sound to you when Rasulullah didn't make no promises to nobody about Jannah? He didn't make no promises. When he told the Sahaba that they was going to Jannah, he got it from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It came from Allah. He didn't just make that up. He didn't just say it because, yeah, I'm tight with Allah. No, it came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You tell so-and-so and so-and-so that I'm going to grant them Jannah. But you know what? Even after he did that, they still feared Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They still were humble. They still were humble. Even though they were promised, they were still humble. We have to be very careful with this arrogance. Very careful with this arrogance. So, you know, so I'm saying all that to say, and I didn't really, like giving another example, and I want to mention this because I want to go back to the Dawah part. We really, Dawah was so important. A lot of people don't know that Jamil Abdul-Haq, rahimahullah, my man, okay, the crippled brother, you know where he took Shahada? He took Shahada in Philly when he could walk. And he walked into the masjid and Musa Abdul-Salam, one of the first ones they called him Munafiq, gave him Shahada. Okay? They called Musa Abdul-Salam a Munafiq. Why? Because he was known as a lawman. So he would refute stuff. He would say stuff when they would say this and that about Tariqa and all this kind of stuff. If it went against the Sharia, he would say something. And you know what they do to people like that? They call them dogs. They call them munafiqs. So that they can discredit it, so that people won't listen to them. That's what they do. You call them that, and it came from the Sheikh. This was 20 years ago. Think about this. 20 years ago, this man was called a munafiq. The hadith say that you go to sleep a believer, you wake up an unbeliever. You go to sleep an unbeliever, you wake up a believer. That means your station can change. When they talk about him, they still say munafiq. Why? Because the Sheikh said it. All it did was Shows-Up called him a munafiq.
Yeah, and this is the same thing that keeps on happening to this day. And you know, it's unfortunate. We have to actually wrap it up. But I would like to invite you.
I'm sorry, man. I know I went
No. It's definitely okay.
That's why I told you to hit that commercial button. I told you that.
No.
It's quite all right. It's 100% all right. But actually, before you do that, Jafar, I'm sorry. Let me just ask if anybody has any questions. Do you mind taking any questions, or are you guess?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. So if anybody has any questions, go ahead and post them now so we can get them aggregated, and then we'll do kind of like a rapid fire and ask the questions. But I do kind of have a on behalf of myself and Jafar and Amr and R2F in general. I think probably the person maybe after Hussein Adams, Ahmed Person, we have really been very hard on him. I mean, we have really probably railed on him. That is your son. That is your flesh and blood. And I want you to know for sure, it's not anything personal. We don't have anything personal. Really, we're so hard on him because he is one of the leaders, and we have to make an example out of those examples that they have. So I'm sure you understand that, but I want to extend that to you that I don't want to say we are apologizing for the things that we have had to address, but I just want to make it very clear. We actually love Ahmed, and we would love for him to come on the show. We would love for him to come out and say the things that are incorrect and help us. And we would gladly welcome him with open arms and treat him just like everyone else. But as long as he is one of those people who are leading this charge, we will have to take him head on. So I mean, you got a little emotional, and I have sons myself, and I can sympathize with you, and I can imagine kind of what you are feeling. But we will definitely probably have to address him from time to time when he does say things here or there. But without a doubt, we will definitely lower our wing and offer our hand to him if he's willing to accept it, and all bygones will be bygones. I promise you that. It's not
even if it's privately.
Yeah.
No, it's all good, because the thing is this, and I do understand this thing, right? And I've reached out to Jafar personally and apologized to him as Ahmed's father for the things that Ahmed said to him. And Jafar contested that.
Yeah.
That I have reached out to him, because Ahmed wasn't raised like that. Yeah. Okay. He wasn't raised like that to judge people and talk to people like that and call people names and all. He wasn't raised like that. So of course, I'm very upset about those type of things, but it's fair game because he wears the cloak, and I understand that. And until he takes that cloak off and goes somewhere and learns what he's supposed to learn and get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and stop thinking that the Sheikh is going to save him one day, until he does that, he's going to always be a target, because they're going to always throw him out there. They're going to always throw him out there to talk for them, to speak for them, and all that kind of stuff. And that's why my plea to him is step back, humble yourself, and learn your deen, man. Learn your deen. Allah's mercy is with those who learn, those who try to be better, those who humble themselves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala got you as long as you do that. But when you are arrogant, then shaitan becomes your imam. Okay? Shaitan becomes your imam because shaitan, that's his attribute. And he wants you to be like that. Okay?
Yep.
So, and also I like to say this, inshallah, if y'all give me just a minute.
Yep, go ahead.
We have to be mindful, and when I say we, I'm talking about R2F, I'm talking about me, I'm talking about anybody who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given guidance to away from this stuff. Okay? And gave us another look. We had to be careful about attacking, because if we're trying to go back and help these people and save them from the ignorance that they practice, then we can't be harsh. We have to argue in a handsome manner, just like we do the non-Muslims. Just like when we go and we do Dawah, we don't want to attack Christians. A lot of them believe they just misguided, they steered wrong. So we want to talk to them. We want to try to guide them and bring them back to the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Well, that's what we're doing here with the Dawah program with R2F. We want to guide them. I do understand, because like a lot of people, when I've talked to people, and they say that sometimes y'all come at them hard, y'all kind of hard, right? And then y'all be laughing and all that. But it reminds me of a story that I not a story. It reminds me of something that I witnessed. And I was walking down the street and the dude's house was on fire, right? Mm-hmm. And the house burnt, almost burnt down. And they had the fire department had him like a couple doors down with a blanket around him, because he was shaking. And he was smoking a cigarette and he was laughing, right? Mm. He was laughing like uncontrollably, right? And I'm looking at him laughing, and I'm saying, well, I know he ain't laughing because he was in the fire, right? He laughing because he got out of that joint, okay? It's like a PTSD thing. Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sometimes when I witness y'all interactions and stuff, I feel that, because I understand it's like y'all was in that fire, right? And the Lord subhanahu took y'all out of that fire. I'm laughing at the fact that I'm now. I'm good, right? But there's still some people in that fire.
Yeah.
Okay, conscious of people in that fire, and we got to try to help them. We got to try to help them get out of there, and that's all I'm saying.
Okay, let's say, Amr, did you get the questions?
Yes, I had the questions. Shukran for coming on the show, Uncle.
Alhamdulillah. I'm gonna get you, man, because I saw you at Juman. You ain't give me no love, man. But
What was this? What was this?
You know that time I saw you at Islamic Center.
I don't. Okay.
I saw.
All right. Do you still talk to your son Ahmed Pearsons? So next.
Yeah, I love my son. I love him to death. I talk to him. Like we haven't talked like I want to talk yet. Mm-hmm. We haven't had that talk yet.
Okay.
But I am going to talk to him.
Alhamdulillah. Someone asked, do you think Gilani believed his teachings up to his death, or do you think he died knowing what he has done to the community?
I can't get into his soul. I can't get into his mind. I can't get into none of that. But I guarantee you that, if he really, I don't know if he believed he was a sultan. I don't know. That's what you had to get into that.
Yeah.
You have to get into if he really believed that he was that, because if he believed he was that, then he probably died with that belief, right? Mm-hmm. I would think. Yeah. But see, the thing that protects us is the knowledge of Allah and the knowledge of the knowledge of Sharia. It don't matter what he thinks, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, because if the thing about the Sharia contradicts what he thinks, then we're not supposed to follow him. It was one shayukh that said that if you see your sheikh flying around, and he can fly from here to there, and he can go wherever he want to go, but he don't practice Sharia, you need to leave him alone. You don't know what he involved in. You don't know. You can say it's spiritual. It might be witchcraft. It might be anything, right? So when you see him doing all these things and all that kind of stuff, and then you see him separating families, and you see him, condemning people to hell, and all this other stuff that's totally against the Dab of Rasulullah Islam, then that's on you if you keep following him. Because you do some magic or whatever. Magicians do magic. What's the dude's name? Blaine?
Yeah, David Blaine, yeah.
He get the hell out of me. I don't watch it because I don't want to get caught up. But I'm just saying, a lot of people do magic. That ain't nothing.
Okay, the next question we have is, what happened to the Muslims who accepted Gilani's offer to go to jihad? How did the verbal interactions turn into tasawwuf? Sorry.
Well, that's good because I did have that to say, and I skipped over it because I talked too much. But basically, when Sheikh Gilani came, it was like MJ said, it was supposed to be it was a fatanama. It was a letter of declaration of jihad, right? And of course he came to the right people because he came to a bunch of dudes that would fight. And we was ready to go. Now it was a group that went over. Other brothers in Dick's store. The revenue went up. All the brothers was up in there getting boots and stuff, right?
Yep.
Get prepared to go fight, right? And for some reason, after the first group went and they came back, and that was Khalifa Ali, Khalifa Yahya, Khalifa Atiq, Khalifa Khalil. It was all the dudes, the high-ranking dudes went first, right? So they come back, and the next group getting ready to go, and then it was called off because some kind of political, because he said it was the Jamaatul Islami show. The Jamaatul Islami was a group over there that evidently became political or whatever, so that's why we never went back over there. But I think what happened was, and Allah knows best, but it was like, damn, they was ready to roll. I got them. It was going to be hard, and that was it. Right? And we here for you, let's go do this, right? But then it became like, oh, well, I think I might stay. I think I might hang out a little bit, right? And then all of a sudden, the women, right? All of a sudden, the brothers' wives were offered a bed, okay? And the women were taking bed, right? And then you had the brothers that didn't want their wife taking no bed because they like, I'm not, no. I mean, I'm here, but I'm not. That's my wife. What do you think that was called, Mubarak? I see you. What do you think that was called? When they said no.
No, listen. Your wife basically takes bay'ah to you when her father gives her to you in marriage. That's her bay'ah to you. You know,
not in TMOA. And I saw one brother who was a senior talib. He was one of our leaders, and he was told that you would never reach your white status. Okay. And that joint went all over the place. So he was belittled from the door. You'll never reach your white status. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. He probably got to make his own sandwich. I mean, he ain't. ain't let me ask you a question. Hold on, please. I'm sorry. You know what? The producer is in my ear telling me that I need to wrap it up. But okay. I have to ask you this question. I have to. Okay. Now, on this note, allegedly they have a sheikha, a imam, a female imam who is their leader, the top dog, the president. You know what I mean? The head nigga. I mean the. There you go. They told me to say, come on, man. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, basically the leader is a woman. Just What is your take on this development? Do you think is legitimate? What's your take? I'm not gonna try to lead you. That's what's up. What do you say?
Well, you know the moonwalk, right? The moonwalk is when you walking backwards away from something. Well, that's what a lot of us did, and some people said it, and some people did it. And it's funny because when that thing first happened, it was said to certain brothers, "You ain't gonna sign this, Bayat. we know you ain't gonna sign this." Because we never did that. We ain't never let no woman run us. I mean, women are very important in what we do.
Yes.
Okay, they're very important. So please, ladies, don't take this the wrong way. But one of the things you can't do is lead men. You can't govern men. You just can't.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you see this taking place, right? And then somebody talk about, well, Umar already put a woman in charge. Yeah, in the marketplace. Like a supermarket. Right?
So she can go to the mall and have a field day. I mean, do whatever you need to do.
If she works in the ladies' department, you can hire her as a manager. She can manage that. You can't govern no man. You can't govern no man. And we never, that's what I'm saying. When I look at the Darsland movement, we ain't never get that twisted. That was never no thing.
I mean, we got, I've heard some of the stories of some of the bravest, toughest, just the manliest of men, right? I mean, I'm talking about won't take nothing from nobody, will say what they need to say. I mean, just everything that embodies just like real manhood. And I'm like, none of these real manly men can be like, yo, we're not doing that, or at least say anything. I mean, really? Besides yourself and Uncle MJ and a few other people, I mean, it's been crickets for the most part. I mean,
you know what, Mubarak? Unfortunately, when you really believe that Sheikh Gilani is going to be at that door and escort you in Jannah because he got that Jannah ticket, and you believe that, then you're going to take that. That's unfortunate. But that's what it is. I talked to some of my senior brothers. I talked to them, man. And it hurts. I ain't gonna lie, because these dudes are intelligent, man. These dudes. Oh, I was talking about Atlantic City. Please, can I finish that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give me a minute, I know you ready to hit that button. Getting back to Atlantic City, like I said, it was only a few families, right? Abdul Rashid's widow sent me a clip from Atlantic City, the last Eid, right? They had to shut down the boardwalk because there were so many Muslims celebrating Eid. That was from the Darsland movement. That was the work that the Dar did in the streets. Going back in the streets, like I said, it was only 3 or 4 families in Atlantic City at that time, back in '77. So when you want to see the fruits of your labor, you look at the work that you did, and then you look at the fruit that it bore. And Allah subhanahu will reward you for that. But I know that Dawah is not a principle in TMOA. Ain't no Dawah program in TMOA. Ain't no going back in the neighborhoods and getting people and bringing them to the deen. Ain't none of that. It's about my program. What about Allah's program? What about the program we used to do, where we brought many people to Islam, right? In droves, in the Jamaat group. What about that? That was Allah's program. Now everybody go in their little corner and do their mammal like it's going to save them.
Yeah. The only new Muslims in TMOA come from childbirth.
Yeah.
And maybe somebody marries a lady outside of the Jamaat and wrangles them in, but other than that, ain't no doubt.
Unfortunately, stuff to look.
Okay, we have 2 more questions that I want to get to because folks asked them, so this kind of write it out. Okay. So, how close was your relationship with Gilani, if at all?
Well, I'm gonna tell this story. I went to Pakistan in 1999, with Khalifa Khalil, Musa Abdul Salam, and a host of other brothers. Abdul went to Pakistan, right? And I got very sick over there, like very, very sick, right? And I mean, to the point where I begged Allah subhanahu not to let me die over there because I didn't want to die in Pakistan. That's how sick I got.
Yeah.
It didn't dawn on me till I came back that I'm over there with the sheikh and I'm sick as a dog, about to die, I feel. And I don't get one prescription from the sheikh, but he healing everybody else in the United States, okay? But I'm in Pakistan, and the brothers that was with me can bear witness to that. And the only thing I got from him was Khalifa Khalil told me, you know, Shah's worried about you. We was in the madrasa. He was the only one with the sheikh. We was in the madrasa. Sick as a dog. Okay? I don't know, give me some Ismail. Give me some Ismail, that'll work, you know. I know what Ismail is. That's that stuff they use when you sit over there, right?
I mean, you said it was 1999. I mean, perhaps, I don't know. I mean, could he have been busy with, you know, maybe some other things? I mean, he might have had a lot on his plate around that time, or was there anything going on that maybe he was distracted, or maybe he forgot about you, or?
Well, but I'm a traveler. Allah sometimes has mercy on the travelers. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care what you're doing. I'm a traveler. I'm in a whole nother country. I'm a guest here. And I might die on your watch. That's not a concern. I'm just saying, man.
Allahu Akbar. Yeah, that's, I mean, yeah, it's, and allegedly, I mean, like, I mean, we've heard stories about him knowing what people's doing in their houses. I mean, where, you know, people's wives should stay covered up in their house, which that's ridiculous. And what's he doing peeping in people's houses anyway, even if he can travel into people's houses? But I mean, you would think with a person with these types of abilities would be able to visit you within a blink of an eye, at least check on you personally. Yeah, I mean, at least fluff your pillow or something. I mean, do something for you. I mean, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, definitely. But I was just looking for maybe any sort of type of reason for him being you know, like distracted or whatever, maybe
I mean,
around that time.
I don't know. I didn't get no message like, you know, I'm so busy. Sorry, I can't get to you.
Counting money. It's like Scrooge McDuck.
I ain't get none of that. I'm just saying it was almost like,
he was swimming in rupees.
Jake was worried about you. That's all I got. You know.
Okay. Next question. Did you meet any of Gilani's other children from his marriages to Pakistani women while you were overseas?
I met Sultan was a baby, actually.
Okay.
Sultan was a baby when I was there. He was in, as a matter of fact, he was in a little cart thing. And I think it was Mudassir. Mudassir is Sultan's brother, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Right, from the same mother?
Yep.
Yeah, I met Mudassir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
And the last question we got asked was, did you witness any alleged miracles from Sheikh Gilani?
Absolutely not. And to the point where I thought something was wrong with me for years. I thought it was something wrong with me. Because, you know, other brothers are talking about, woo, you see that? You know?
Yeah.
I'm looking, I don't see that. So I'm like, damn, you know? And then it's like, you know, Allah's name was written in the sky. Well, astaghfirullah, but I know Allah sometimes don't know how to write his name. How come I don't see that?
Exactly.
You putting the cloud together and you forming the aleph and the lamb and all. It should be clear. Allah when Allah sent Musa alayhi salam was clear signs.
Exactly. Oh my God! I mean, literally, Allah writing his name, but you got to tap me and explain to me. You got to point it out to me.
See how that lamb come down like that and group up with that other lamb. You don't have to do that. Allah subhanahu is clear when he's giving you a message. He's clear when he's showing you something from him. I've never seen no miracles. I never seen no miracles. And then I got to the point where I stopped looking for them.
Alhamdulillah. Brother Abdul-Atheem, we'd like to thank you for coming, and there's still a lot. We're gonna have to do like part twos with like you, Brother MJ, because there's just so much information to cover. We definitely can't cover it in one show. But I do line up
40 years, Jeff. You talking about 40 years? That's why I said when MJ was on here, I said I know y'all had him for 2.5 hours. I know he couldn't cover everything.
Yep.
Exactly.
It's so much. And then when I talk about the Dawah, that was a span of a few years.
Yeah.
Think about all the work that was done in the span of a few years, right? Where you had brothers had their own businesses, right? We had Dawah programs throughout the country. People was taking Shahada in droves, right? They talk about, Khalifa Ali. Khalifa Ali was the last thing that he did, he was responsible for the halal bill in Virginia. We have a halal bill in Virginia where it's a misdemeanor. 3, to claim that you have halal and you don't. Khalifa Ali was responsible for that. He was one of the brothers responsible for that. He never stopped working, man. He never stopped working. And for them not to honor him, and I'm saying this to his companions, to his companions, shame on you, man. Shame on you, and shame on you for not coming to Rashid Abdullah's janazah because you was told not to. Told not to come to his janazah, so you didn't come. Right? So you gotta fix that, and you gotta answer to Allah subhanahu for that, because Rasulullah told you to do it. He told you that that's a duty. That's a duty. So you want to say that the Sheikh told you not to, so you took his word over Rasulullah. That's what I look at. That's what I look at, because it hurt me so much, because I look at all of the brothers that we were with him. And we did things, and we worked together, and we got things done. And you said you loved him. You loved him. But you wouldn't bury him. So,
may Allah all give us all the strength, the guidance and the strength to rectify all of our affairs, because we've all made mistakes, and it's really a blessing from Allah to point out our mistakes, or have someone point out our mistakes in the ways that we made mistakes in the past. And it really is a blessing to, no matter what our age is, or no matter what time it is, or no matter what we've done, to be able to recognize the right and recognize the wrong, and then work towards doing what is right. With that, us from R2F would like to definitely. Oh, wait, go ahead.
Okay, hold on. I have what's going to say. Okay, so I did not mean to not give salam at Juma. I probably just didn't think about it.
With you, man. I'm
or didn't see you, because like that's weighing on me. I was like, did I see him? Just like, because like my whole thing has always been, I see someone I know, that hug, like that's my thing. So now I'm like, hold on, I'm gonna lose my mind here. Like,
no, okay. I'm just messing with you.
I want to say, I'm like,
intentionally do that. I'm just messing with you. That's what we do. We mess with each other, right?
I was just being sure, like, oh man, that's like, what was I doing then?
No, it's all good, man.
Alhamdulillah. We really thank you for being on the show. We love you for the sake of Allah, and like we definitely would like to give you an invite to come back and talk about some more things.
Full disclosure, like you said earlier, okay? I support what y'all doing. Look, when that young lady got on here, Farouk's daughter, man, it tore me up, man, because that's like my daughter.
Yeah.
That's like my daughter, and I see her, and she has so many expressions on her face, you couldn't catch them all because of the pain that she had inside of her. Okay, alhamdulillah, my wife has been contacting her. They've been connecting and all of that to help her whatever way we can help her. That's what we got to do, man. Because this trauma is serious. This trauma is serious. It's serious to the point where you can't even wake some people up. They see the stuff on the screen. They see these excerpts from the videos, right? And they still sleep. Damn, what's going to wake you up? What's going to wake you up? I mean, what's going to wake you up? So yeah, we got to keep working, man. We got to keep working. And like I said, full disclosure, you know, I do what I can to help, and I won't stop doing that for a long time, because I feel responsible, because I brought my family to this thing. Okay? So if I can help to get them out and anybody else's children out so that they can learn Islam, or even like I think it was one of y'all said before, just reenact the wheel.
Yeah.
Learn the deen. Okay? Learn the deen and practice the deen. And I'm gonna go because I know I'm talking.
Well, I got one last message for you from our brother Hussein. You know, he sent his message. He says he wants to let you know that he loves you.
Yeah,
so I just wanted to get that to you real quick.
He is.
Oh, you know Hussein. He was on here. He did an interview.
Yeah. Hussein Haq.
Oh,
Hussein
Haq.
Haq.
Yeah.
Quick story about Hussein Abdul-Haq. Can I?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. When I came back from Pakistan, so of course they wanted to break up the double wide crew and all that, and Sekou was in charge on the land in Red House. So they were trying to get me when I was in Pakistan to be the Amir when I get back, and I begged them not to, because that's not my thing. I ain't trying to be in charge of nobody. So basically what the Sheikh said was, well, let the people choose the Amir. Okay.
Yeah.
So they put the names in the hat and all that kind of stuff, and then my name came out. So it was like, okay, maybe Allah want me to do this. So I became Amir. The masjid was just dirt, basically, maybe a few bricks. Brothers came, alhamdulillah. Shakur, brother Shakur from Philly. Me and him were partners. We had a restaurant together. He came, he brought a crew from Philly. They brought the bricks. They put the masjid up. Right? We got the masjid. We got the foundation up. I get a call from my best friend, one of my best friends, Muhammad Abdul-Haq, Hussein's Abu. Atheem, what's going on, man? I heard you getting the masjid built. That's how he talk. He talk like that. He loud. I said, yeah. He said, all right, I'm gonna help you. I'm coming. He was in Michigan. But that's my boy from Philly, right? He said, all right, man, I'm coming, man. I'm coming. But you know what he came with? He came with his own money. He came with his own money and put that roof on that masjid. Okay, and not only put the roof on the masjid, him and I call him Radio Raheem, but Raheem and from Philly also, and they grouped up and they got that roof on, they got that masjid done, right? They got that masjid done, like I said, with his own money. Okay, he came with his own money. He didn't ask for nothing. Okay. I'm sorry, that's Dawood calling me, but anyway. but and may Allah bless him for that, because we got the masjid done. We got them the same masjid. They won't let him come and pray in right now. Think about that. The same masjid, they won't even let him come make salat.
But he gets the credit of their salats.
They talk about the land. Where's the spirit at? Because it's just land if it ain't no spirit, right?
Yep. Alhamdulillah.
All right, I'm done, man. I'm sorry.
Alhamdulillah. Shukran. So it's gonna be hard to follow that up, but again, we're gonna be on every other Saturday. So we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. I'm just gonna close this out with a little something to kind of wrap up what we've been talking about. And we've mentioned.
Let me say one last thing. I'm sorry. I have to say. I'm sorry. I'll be on penalty. I'll be on timeout for the next 2 weeks. But I had to say this honestly. I find, for me personally, and as far as the feedback, the strongest and the interviews that really move the most are the interviews from our brother Uncle Abdul-Atheem's generation. So I would say, number one, thank you very much for coming on, and if you can encourage the people who were part of both the Dawah days and the TMOA and kind of have that same experience. Because we have interviews lined up, but the ones from your generation are always the most impactful. So if you talk to your friends and encourage them, hopefully they will come on and keep driving this thing, because I think it's very important that we get you guys' side of things, because it actually does it really, really, really pulls a lot of strings, and it gets people talking. They will call and they'll say, well, he left this thing out, this, that, and other, and they say, well, I need to come on and tell and set the record.
That's what I hope happens, because like I said, man, I'm just a little tool in this thing. It's a whole lot I probably ain't talking about. A whole lot. See, unfortunately, Mubarak, the brothers from the Dawah, the elders and stuff, they need this. First of all, Allah already gave you credit for the things that you've done. Right? You was out there, you gave Dawah, you did all these different things. You want to act like that never happened because Sheikh Gilani came? No, talk about it, man. Tell your kids about it. Tell your kids, this whole thing that we was a bunch of drunks and drug addicts and all this kind of stuff, and then the Sheikh came and saved us. When? So we got work done, man. We got things done. Alhamdulillah, we got things done. We had things established. No, we was a shiny object, okay?
Yep.
That's what we were. We were a shiny object that a lot of people wanted to put on their finger, okay? That's what that was all about. And it wasn't just Sheikh Gilani, it was a whole bunch of them, okay?
Yep.
That wanted to have something to do with us.
Yep. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So I'm gonna close this out.
I know I went overboard. That's why I told you. You gotta bring me back, because I go over all.
No, we're good. We definitely plan on bringing you back on for a part 2. Alhamdulillah. This was great. Alhamdulillah. But I'm gonna close this out. Inshallah. And you heard Brother Abdul-Atheem mention multiple times the importance of Dawah, and it just so happens that I was going to try to close this out with a message about the importance and the significance of Dawah, inshallah. So, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alhamdulillah, As-salatu was-salamu ala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we start off with what Allah says in the Holy Quran, in Surah Fusilat, in Ayat 33. Allah says, "And who is better in speech than he who says, 'My Lord is Allah,' and then stands firm and invites men to Allah's religion, and does righteous deeds and says, 'I am one of the Muslims.'" They don't say, "I am one of the TMOA. They do not say, "I am the Sufi, I am the Salafi, I am the Qadri," this and that. They don't say, they say, "I am one of the Muslims," which is the highest honor that we can have of being a human being in this world. And Rasulullah says, and this is narrated in Sahih Muslim, he says, "Whoever calls others to guidance will have a reward like the rewards of those who follow him, without that detracting from their reward in any way. And whoever calls others to misguidance will have a burden of sin like the burden of those who follow him, without that detracting from their burden in any way." I'm not going to focus on the bad part of this hadith. I'm focusing on the good part of this hadith. It's about giving dawah. Because when we give dawah, as we talked about, Khalifa Ali Rashid, who gave dawah to the likes of Imam Siraj Wahaj, and we mentioned how he gets all the barakat because he gave him his shahada. And there's so much blessings in giving dawah, but giving dawah is not something easy. You hear Brother Abdul-Atheem talk about they went out on the streets, they went to the neighborhoods, they went to people's homes, right? Even the dawah that we are doing is somewhat easier than that because we're just sitting behind a computer, but it's still tests and trials in it because we have to find time. Everybody has their own little things that's going to kind of prevent you from doing the dawah, but we have to do it. And when you take up the reins of giving dawah, because this is what the mission of the prophets was, is to give dawah, to call people to Islam. And when you take up those reins and follow in those footsteps, it's naturally that Allah is going to test you with something similar that they were tested with because we look to them for examples. And of course, Rasul dealt with everything in the book, things that we would never even dream of dealing with, and things that we would never even be able to handle. This is why Rasul is the best prophet, and this is why the people that followed him are the best people. And we look to their example to find strength and to find guidance in the things that we face. And when you give dawah, you will experience the difficulties and the trials. They will slander you. They will insult you. They will boycott you. The ones that you love, the ones that used to love you, they used to respect you, they used to honor you, they will turn on you and hate you and disrespect you and dishonor you. They will try to silence you. They will even become violent with you. They may even, may Allah protect us all from this, they may even try to kill you. And so what do we do when that happens? And every time things like this happen, we do what Allah says in Surah Al-Rum, ayat 60. He says to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so be patient, be steadfast. Verily, the promise of Allah is true. And let not those who have no certainty of faith discourage you from conveying Allah's message. Don't let these people discourage us from conveying Allah's message, because yes, we do it because we want the people that we love and care about to become Muslim, or not just become Muslim, be Muslim and follow the correct Islam and avoid sin and avoid shirk and avoid deviation. Yes, we want that. But the main reason why we do it is to protect ourselves and gain the favor of Allah. That's the bottom line, is that we have to protect ourselves, gain the favor of Allah, and try to save the ones that we love, and especially the ones that we are actually responsible for. So we'll end on that message, and inshallah, Mubarak can close us out, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks.
سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.